Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about dating in retirement. Let me tell you my experience. Now I'm not one to go on online dating because I'm too shy. I would not be comfortable doing that at all. But when my husband passed away, it was not that I put my foot down and said I'll never have another man in my life. It's really just something I didn't think about. I know that sounds crazy, but I just never gave it a thought. I had several girlfriends that we went out together a lot. They're either divorced or are widows also. We would go to the movies. We would go on road trips. We went out to eat a lot, and we had a good time together. We still do. Well, that was fun for about 4 years. Then one night I was in my bedroom and I was on my computer and I was on Facebook. Well, up popped this instant message. Now, an instant message on Facebook is where two people can talk back and forth and nobody else sees it but them. It's just private between the two of them. And this was a man that I had known for years. My husband had known him. They were friends at one time. He was a firefighter in the town where we lived, and I had run into him many times. Well, he just popped up and said, "What are you doing? Haven't seen you in a long time." So I went on and I talked to him. We talked back and forth, talked about the fact he said he had retired from the fire department and he had moved to a town 90 miles away where his two grown sons were living and where they had a business. So we talked for a few minutes and finally I said, "Well, I'm about to go to bed now." I said, "It was nice talking to you." He said, "Okay, we'll talk again." Okay. Well, several days went by, and then one night I was on Facebook again, and he pops back up. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to Kansas next week for a few days, and when I come back, I have to come through town there. Why don't I stop and pick you up, and let's go to dinner?" Oh, well, okay. I said, "Okay, sounds good." So sure enough, that next week he came through. He came by and picked me up, and we went to dinner. Now, surprisingly, I enjoyed the man. We enjoyed the conversation. We had a nice meal. We enjoyed talking to each other. Well, that night started a relationship between the two of us that lasted for several years. Now, we didn't see each other every day, obviously, because he lived 90 miles away. But he would come up here and visit me, and I would go there and visit him, and I met all of his family, and they were always very accepting of me, and we just had a good time together for several years. Well, then he got sick, had lung cancer, and he passed away. Okay, well, fast forward about a year and a half, and I'm still very good friends with my best friend from high school. And she lives about 200 miles away. And I had gone there to visit her. And one night she had gone to bed, and I was had my laptop there with me, and so I was on Facebook, and up pops an instant message. Yes. Now this was a man that I had known all my life. He had a younger sister who was one of my childhood friends. We went to school together from grade school through high school. We still talk. We're still friends. And I remembered him from her house, and I remembered he was a really good-looking guy. That I do remember about him. And anyway, I knew his wife had passed away some months before because I had seen the obituary in the newspaper. Well, he came on and said that his daughter had put him onto Facebook to give him something to do, and he had a couple of questions about Facebook, and could I call him and see if I could answer his questions for him? So it was late at night, but I said, "Tonight?" And he said, "Sure, I'm up." So I called him, and we talked for a few minutes. So we talked about the old neighborhood that we grew up in. Talked about all the people that we had known and where they were and what they were doing. And in a little bit he said, "Well, why don't I call you next week and maybe we can meet for dinner?" I said, "Okay, that sounds good." So we met for dinner one day that next week, one night that next week, and he was a very pleasant man, very nice, still nice looking. Um, we had a lot to talk about because we talked about, his sister and my sister and my brothers and sisters that he had known, and we just talked a lot. Yes, that started a relationship between the two of us that lasted 4.5 years, I believe it was. Well, I know it was 4.5 years. Then he got colon cancer and he passed away. Well, this was just this past November, so it's still fresh. But I can honestly say, and this is the honest truth, I will not do that again. I don't want to lose anybody else. I lost my husband to lung cancer. I lost Ron to lung cancer, and I lost Jerry to colon cancer. So I'm done. I am 77 years old. I live out here next door to my daughter and my son-in-law. I see my grandkids a lot, and I'm okay the way I am. But I guess what my message to you is, never say never. You never know what's going to come up. So if you want to go out with somebody and the chance comes up, do it. Okay? All right. That's all I have for today. I'll see you on the next one.